Your Excellency Bandar Alkhorayef, Minister of Industry and Mineral Resources, thank you so much for joining us here in Riyadh at the Future Minerals Forum.
Thank you for having me.
So this is the third year of the Future Minerals Forum. What do you make of it?
It's really amazing. It's something we have not expected to be what it is today, and that's a great surprise for us. But for me, really, what is really resonates, at least personally, is the consensus that we have, the common interest amongst everyone here, government, private sector, academia, financial institutions. Everybody is leaving, their own thing behind and talking about one thing: is how can we make this sector become the sector it deserves to be, bringing back to the societies, bringing impact. And I'm very proud of where we are today.
And the numbers, like pushing it to, closing in on 20,000, hundreds of speakers, some 40 ministers, extraordinary.
It's amazing, and this edition specifically features the involvement also of large countries who are consumers of minerals. The other side of the table, I would call it, the G20 countries. And you know what? The beauty is that they actually wanted to be engaged. They saw the forum, how it is progressing. They saw the discussion. They saw the ministerial roundtable ability also to bring everybody together, and they volunteered. They had the interest to say, we want to be part of this, and I'm really very glad and honored that we have also that side of the table.
Well, since you mentioned the ministerial roundtable, I was just reading some comments that from a conversation we had with His Excellency Alaa Al-Jubeir, Minister, of course, of State for Foreign Affairs. He called the ministerial roundtable something like the United Nations General Assembly. That's pretty good.
Well, that's coming from definitely from someone like His Excellency Alaa Al-Jubeir. It means a lot to me.
He certainly knows what the United Nations General Assembly looks like. So, what is your biggest takeaway from the ministerial roundtable? What are you most proud of? I know you have this vision, obviously, of the super region, that covers some 80 countries with this outsized share of the world's minerals, all the way from Central Asia, encompassing territory, to Africa. What were you able to achieve on day one here at the Future Minerals Forum?
Well, I think the most I'm really proud of is the positivity. Yeah. Everyone is positive. Everyone believes that this is a great opportunity, a great chance to do something. We have been talking a lot. It's now time for action. The fact that we have been able to show results such as the centers of excellence, for example. We are creating already one in Saudi that's going to be a model, hopefully. Having this center of excellence being also available for everyone to come in. Talking about standardization, how we define responsible mining is something I think is an interesting actually discussion to have, especially when people have their own view of how it resonates and looks like. And talking about a hub of green metals is also something that is bringing things solid on the table and being practical about it. It's one thing to ask one side, to ask the other side. It's another thing to actually start to talk about it and see how we can bring it to life.
Saudi Arabia's vision is not to just be a hub for the region, for this super region, but to also be a convener of the countries in it. Why the focus on that?
Well, when we looked at mining as a sector to be developed in our Vision 2030, to be a real contributor to the diversification of our economy, it was very clear it's a sector that we can't do it alone. Yeah. We need to have collaboration with other countries. We need to have definitely private sector engagement. We need to have financing institutions having to come also and support. We need to have academia to be at the forefront of research, development, and innovation. So we realize that even if we have the minerals, we need the customers. And if we don't have the minerals, we have the energy resources that we can refine different elements. So if we take Saudi Arabia as a country, I mean the location of Saudi Arabia, the natural resources, be it in oil and gas or minerals, the energy competitiveness of Saudi Arabia, the infrastructure that we have in the country, the stability from a political point of view, but also from a monetary point of view, it's a great, country to look at. We have all of the ingredients. It makes us be an important hub for the global community. If you add to that we are actually mindful of the fact that we can only be part of the value chain, and we have to choose which part. Are we on the upstream? Are we in the refining? Are we in the final products? Are we in the logistics side? Yeah. So the way we look at mining is also in connection with industry, and that's why this ministry was created for industry and mining. We are looking at the different value chains. We are actually analyzing, as we speak, 11,000 products and seeing how Saudi Arabia can contribute in each one.
Right. Wow. And so it seems to me that there are two big things that Saudi Arabia is looking to do when it comes to the mineral space. In addition to obviously being this hub and being a convener, on the one hand, just since I was at the inaugural Future Minerals Forum, you've really emerged as a global player, right, with these investments in some of the biggest mining companies in the world. And you're in that seat just a few moments ago. I had the chairman of Vale Base Metals, your first big investment, bought 10% of the company. That's not your only investment. And also, of course, the key here, I think, developing your own minerals industry. Something like $2.5 trillion you estimate of economic value under the soil available here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So my question to you would be, what is the argument, what is the pitch that you make to the international mining companies, and not just international mining companies, but as you put it, you're interested maybe also in obviously downstream, and investors that say, hey, I'd like to get involved in Saudi Arabia?
Well, the message is that we are open for business. We are very practical. If you go back to my opening statement yesterday, my speech, all of the initiatives that we have brought out was actually out of listening to investors. So the incentive program that we are offering for miners is reflecting the interest of global players, saying, we want to come, but we need the pre-work to be done by others. The part of exploration, having the information ready. The second thing is also we announced yesterday is the large size concessions. So that was also as part of what we heard from large players. They said, we like what you are doing, we like the transparency, but the plots are too small for us to come. They are not interesting enough. So that's why we went back to the drawing board and we came up with this. So I think the message we are bringing to the table today, we are investor-centric. My ministry is all about bringing investments to the country, be it local or international, and we do it by actually talking with investors, designing to them the right combination of enablers. And I tell investors all the time, come with us to the kitchen, prepare your own meal, don't just order from the menu. Literally, this is what we are doing.
The theme of this Future Minerals Forum is building resilient and responsible supply chains when it comes to delivering critical minerals. So let me come back to the idea of the responsible mineral chains or responsible value chains for the delivery of minerals, and start with this issue of the resiliency of supply chains. It's an issue not just at this forum and a discussion here in Riyadh, it's a conversation around the world. There's a lot of concern, for example, in the United States about dependence on other countries for the minerals that they're going to need for the energy transition. Where does Saudi Arabia fit into the solution of the concern about supply chains and their resilience?
Well, I think Saudi Arabia has a very unique position. On one front, I mean, from a political point of view, and I'm really the worst guy to talk about politics, but at least what we are really open. We evaluate our relations as based on our national interest, and that is the only reason. So we are open to talk to anybody. We are also a place where you will find great infrastructure to build facilities. Our industrial cities are state of the art. Our ability to connect our industrial cities with all of the enablers, starting from gas or energy to the ports for export or import. The financing ability of the country is also great in the form of the development fund that we have, or Exim fund, or any other tools. So we believe we can contribute tremendously in solving for the global challenge of supply chain disruption or resilience and so on. So that's an area where we think. The other side, I think, is because of our political position, we can open, a lot of discussions that can bring people together. Today, Africa is a region. I always say, without Africa, it would be very hard to imagine the transition happening in the pace we would like to have, because of the resources that they have. But there are challenges. How can we help African countries overcome these challenges, from political challenges to security to logistics? I was actually talking yesterday to an investor, and he was telling me we have a mine, we have an output. The bottleneck is really how can we transfer the goods from the mine to the port. I mean, these kind of challenges are, we think they will solve themselves. They will not. If we don't work together to help, it will be very hard. I mean, you talked about Manara and their investment in Valley. Yeah. Manara is a great example of what we have been able to do. Actually, Manara is one of the initiatives that we had brought up to the government when we built the strategy. And it was only announced last year in the FMF, and I am really happy to see them, in action in only 12 months. Manara, for example, today will operate on a commercial basis. It will bring other partners from around the world. It will join forces. But also, in addition to this, if Manara, for example, were to invest in an asset that will need development in infrastructure, then as a government, we will support them through our development fund, the Saudi Development Fund, to do that infrastructure, so that we are combining the commercial entities' interest and ability to move fast and to partner with others with the government support in development.
And remind me, Manara is PIF and Ma'aden.
Exactly.
Together.
It's a joint venture between the two.
Looking for partners.
Looking for partners abroad. I mean, the combination of Manara is a great. I think it's a great way to show how we think here in Saudi. Because when we started in this initiative, there was a discussion. Would that be a government totally entity, or would it be a totally commercial entity, or how? And we arrived to the decision that it must be a commercially driven entity. It will have the combination of PIF as a financial enabler and Ma'aden as a technical strong partner will allow this company to do what it needs to do faster than anything else. And that's why we are seeing these activities actually happening this fast.
So we talked about resilient supply chains, and I said we were going to return to responsible supply chains. The energy transition obviously needs all of these minerals, the critical minerals, to enable it, underpin it. How big of an opportunity is that for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
It's a tremendous opportunity. The way we can link together these activities, and I'm really proud to say, At the early stage of our Vision 2030, we created verticals, what we call programs. The largest is NIDLIB. NIDLIB is the National Industrial and Logistic Program. It is a program that covers industry, energy, mining, and logistics. Because these four sectors, they actually complement in each other in a way that is that can bring value, maximize value. So the energy transition here in Saudi, for example, we have shown that all of our projects of renewables are very competitive. All of the projects that were announced this year, for example, or last year, have been tremendously competitive. I mean, we are talking about 5.6 halala to 5.8 halala a kilowatt, which means is almost 1.8 cents. So they are commercially viable, and we are talking about operators who actually make money and have a standalone returns. So that's why we are very optimistic of our energy mix and the speed that we are doing in that.
Last question, Your Excellency. What would you like the world to know about Saudi Arabia's goals and plans for the minerals industry? What do they need to know that they may not already understand?
Well, I think they need to know that the country is very rich. Even with the 2.5 that I have announced yesterday, 2.5 trillion, this only reflects 30% of the Arabian Shield. So the potential is huge, it is enormous. They also should know that we have the best mining investment law, the best tax regime that is out there. So if they are serious about doing something fast, the only place is Saudi Arabia.
Your Excellency Bandar Alkhorayef, thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you
for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.